Hello, good morning. July 5th, 2020. It's about 8:15 in the morning. Well, I'm usually up and going a little bit faster. So I've had some things to tinker around with here on the computer, trying to get the OSB settings back in, and I installed a new desk lamp this morning, so I have a little bit better lighting directly over my workspace. It actually allows me to put lighting just about anywhere I need it. So hopefully that'll come in handy in the near future. I picked it up at the thrift store. Things are starting to open up around here. The thrift stores are opening up. The smaller restaurants, various different things are starting to come alive. It's been a very odd year, and I want to reach out and apologize. I mean, it has been a while since I've done any streaming. A while, really, since I've done anything artistically. This pandemic has really it's been draining. I'm not one who normally deals with depression. I don't normally have to motivate myself to get out of bed or get my life together, get my shit together, and do things. But yeah, I kind of made a commitment to myself there a couple weeks ago to start making some changes. I've been off work since March 31st, and I was pretty much expecting to go back to any week. Was on and off with my employer, constant communication, trying to figure out when I could come back. And after 13 weeks of being unemployed now, no, it's not been longer than that, but after 13 weeks, they had to officially let me go since there's apparently no work to go back to now. So, in the meantime, you'd think, well, you've had all this free time on your hands, you might as well work on some models. Or, I mean, as you can see, I've been developing a bit of a backlog, they call it. Or anyone watching this for models knows what that is. So I don't really need to explain, but really, it's not a backlog so much as it's acquisitions of kits that I'm planning on using for custom builds for various Mecha Musumes that I'm planning. So while it does look like a lot of kits, it is the majority of it is planned out to be about 4 different girls. So maybe 5. Anyway, neither here nor there. Stuff to hopefully come through in the coming weeks. It's just been hard to get down here and be in my studio and be in the right headspace to do the work. And it's unfortunate because I really want to be active in that way. I really want to be doing something productive with my time and getting out there and getting my brand, my name, artistically going again. And the studio name, I mean, even my wife has been struggling to do anything artistically, and I don't know if that's the pall that I'm putting on the house with my funk, or if it's kind of a mutual thing. But the state of the world is really out of control right now, and for my children down the road here when I'm no longer here and they're watching these videos to kind of remember me essentially, or to catalog the life of their father, to look back and say, hey, this is the kind of shit my dad did. What we're going through right now is unprecedented, and we've got civil unrest, we've got the BLM movement, we've got anarchy rising, we've got of course coronavirus, and now there's apparently a threat of World War III. China is apparently making moves over in the Middle East, on basically on India. It's more like Burma, Thailand, that kind of shit. But and then allegedly there's another swine flu pandemic backing up the coronavirus here that is potentially just as devastating, if not more so. We've been under quote unquote lockdown or quarantine since March. We've been asked not to go out in public, but once a week to do grocery shopping, and even at that, send one member from your household. And It's been very taxing, physically, emotionally. Um, I've packed on a bit of weight. I think I put on about 15 pounds since the start of all this, which is just pretty pathetic because I need to be losing the weight, not gaining it. So I mean, I do have gym behind me. Some of that can be seen over there, and that is part of the covenant I've made here about 2 weeks ago, was to get my ass off the couch and get down here and start every day hitting the bench or doing cardio or something. Um, so that's kind of something I've been working on, and I'm hoping with the physical health coming back, maybe some of the mental health will come back, and I can get back into some art projects. I've been kind of chipping away at Bumblebee here a little bit, little bit. She does have her energy stinger weapon. Um, she's still a wreck. The paint on the legs went wonky, and every time I tried to fix it, I just made it worse, and I ended up completely having to restrip the leg and do it all over again. And um, I'm now out of any yellow paint for touch up. I'm hoping I can maybe puncture the can and get what I need out when I am ready to touch up, uh, and hopefully not come out looking like a inverted color Smurf when I do, because I'm sure when I rupture the can, it's going to go everywhere. But that's a project for maybe another day, maybe later. I don't know. Every time I look at her, I'm so frustrated with how the leg came out, and how much effort I'm having to put into just to get her where I want her to be. And unfortunately, she is the closest one to complete that I am working on. I want her done before I work on Barricade, who's in a box over there in pieces. Barricade realistically is pretty much done. I just have to reassemble, detail, and clear coat, and she's finished. And since they're a set, I won't Bumblebee in first because she was the first plan. My brother's birthday project has been on pretty much permanent hiatus. Um, it was due in March. I worked my ass off up to February to try to get it done. I put her ahead of completing Bumblebee and Barricade, and she still sits here in parts. And she's not too far off from finished. It would be nice though to get her complete. My other brother's birthday gift is sitting behind it, waiting to get started, and I won't show those on camera because, yeah, they don't need to see that stuff. So, uh, they support me enough to check in from time to time, so I gotta be careful what I put on there. But yeah, so there's that, and then I have one other gift in the works. I'm still acquiring parts for. I'm down to needing a very few amount of kits. I need an RG new Gundam. I need a tri-burning Gundam. I've decided I want to go ahead and pick up the Kotobukiya Bandit. It's a motorcycle kit. And then I'd like to get my hands on a 1/60th scale RX 178 and a 1/60th scale Xeon unit, whether it's a Sasabi or a Sanhaju Comfer. Something I kind of want to do. I mean, I'd love to do like a monstrosity kit, like a kit bash between a Sasabi, Sanhaju, and a Comfort. I do like all those style elements. I'm kind of leaning toward maybe I should just go ahead and bite the bullet and buy the 160 Zaku when that time comes. So I just want to have the 178 and the Zaku squared off from the Gundam franchise, and that's kind of an homage to what got me into this hobby as far as the custom model building goes. I did pick up a 1/48 scale mega size Gundam RX-78, which will be displayed kind of as the arch coming into my part of the studio here. I'd like to have that with the two 160s, kind of aerial combat kind of thing behind it. Just kind of like I said, as a homage to what inspired me to get into this hobby. Realistically, what really got me inspired was the original Bishojo Shinki figures for Gundam, the MS girls, when they had the wing. I think it was the wing, the Mark II Titans, and the original RX-78 Gundam girl were the first three we saw at Anime Expo there in 2002, 2001, in that area. But yeah, that really kind of sparked my interest. And I did, not too long after, they created a pretty amateur custom Gundam girl, and she came out okay. I mean, for a first attempt at something like that. And you might find that somewhere on the web and in the DeviantArt, and kudos to you if you do manage to come across it, because takes a little bit of searching. There may or may not be some pictures of that way back in the old archives on DeviantArt, whether it's the Warui Ja Nai DeviantArt or the Kid and Waru Forever DeviantArt page. I know they exist. They're out there somewhere. I just have to do some digging myself if I ever want to re-upload them. But yeah, that's kind of a nutshell where we're at right now. I've been, like I said, really struggling just to get by on the day to day. Been playing a lot of Phantasy Star Online 2 that came out a couple weeks ago, a month ago or so now. And trying to find work, and I mean, there's really nothing. Like everything I look at is a step backward for me as a career, and I'm 39 years old. I'll be 39 years old in about 25 days, but I'm in that time of my life where I need to be settled into a career. I need to start thinking about retirement, and where I've been for the last 2 years, I thought was kind of it. I thought that was the place. I mean, I felt at home there. The people I worked with were good people. You get the occasional asshole once in a while, but I mean, that's what it is, right? Somebody has a bad day, you just got to let it go. But it seemed like a good company. Everyone was going good, but now, I don't even know if they're going to make it. We got our big conglomerate giant here, Tech Mining, is struggling as well. I mean, they're hanging on. They're not going to go anywhere, but they've reduced their workforce by like 70%, and they were our biggest. They're essentially customer, and they've kind of trickled down what jobs were coming our way too. So it's just been a struggle for sure, and I'm trying to keep up with the yard, and there's days I just don't feel like going outside to even mow, but it gets a point where it starts getting grasses climbing up over the ankle or trying to grab you as you're going down the walk. So you got to do what you got to do. We got a camping trip coming up. I haven't been camping in years. We got to go. That's one of the things I have to do today is go through our old supplies and see what we have and what we need, and try to supplement what we can on a budget here. If I had my ruthers, I'd rather not go camping at this time. I keep dreading. Like I need to get back to work, but I keep dreading now that somebody's already paid for a campsite and is really expecting us to go. It's kind of a push on my wife's foster mom. She's been trying to get us to go out camping with her for the last couple of years, and finally she's like, you know what I'm doing for your birthday? I'm buying you a campsite, and you have no excuse because you're not working. So yeah, I don't have an excuse, but that is kind of now my concern, is that sometime between now and the 25th, something's going to come up, and then I won't be able to go, and we'll have invested money in camping supplies and whatever. I just, it is what it is. But yeah, Hamilton came out on the 3rd. We had my sister-in-law over. We got to watch that. It was good. I definitely think it's a show I would love to have the opportunity to see in person. Lin-Manuel and the cast, Leslie Odom, they own that production, and I've had something in the works for them ever since I found out about Hamilton. There's a giant canvas over there. It's about a 3 foot by 4 foot canvas. The background was laid in, and I kind of did a little rough blue sketching on the canvas to kind of get an idea where I want to put certain things. But I definitely do want a full cast ensemble, everyone in the picture as much as I can. I got some ideas. I want to get some smoke billowing and turning into the background cast members, and just I'm gonna push myself on that one. It'll be the first time I'm actually working in oil-based paints. I normally work with just water-based acrylics for paintings. just because they're easy to work with. But I'm gonna stretch my arms out a little bit and reach for something new, something different. We're gonna try for the oil on that one. And then I'd like to get back into watercolors a little bit. I'd like to experiment some more with that. I've seen some fantastic work coming out from Jim Lee and J. Scott Campbell. Some of the giants. David Mack's been a little less active lately. He's probably my biggest inspiration artistically as far as design, storytelling. Obviously Stan Lee was somebody I grew up with, and I think from there it was kind of like Niciez and maybe Fabian. No, I guess Fabian Niciez, was that his name? Anyway, him, Rob Liefeld. I was never really a Batman fan, but in the coming most recent years, after my brother's become a huge Jim Lee fan, I've started to kind of notice his work, and I'm really, really excited to get to work on a project that I'm working on for my brother concerning some of his work. So, like I said, there's projects, there's things coming down the line, and I did make that covenant with myself. Things I am definitely wanting to improve on, and obviously I want to get back in shape. I want to lose some weight. I want to become more active artistically again. I mean, obviously I have to find a job. I've got a family of 4 to support, and you can't really do that if there's no income. So that's going to be first and foremost. It'd be nice if I could turn the art into a career, but unfortunately, with the state of the world and the concerns and the elements of unknown for me personally is something I'm having a real hard time overcoming. I don't do well with uncertainty, and with the way things are right now, with not knowing how I'm gonna make next month's bills, or not knowing how I'm going to continue to support this environment that we have here. It really weighs on me. It stresses me out quite a bit, and there's just something that's got to be overcome. I don't know if finding a new job and having that put to rest will help, or if I can find a way to get over the slump and start churning out the quality and quantity of work that would be needed to support us on it. I don't know. I feel like I'm a little too late in that game. I didn't go to school to become an art major. I don't have a doctorate in any kind of artistic related background or field. So I to sell myself independently without any real assets. Everything I've learned, everything I've done has pretty much been self-taught or has been observed knowledge. That whether it's I picked up things from instructional videos on YouTube, or like rudimentary artistic classes in high school, color theory. But I mean, even long before then, I mean, I started out mimicking my favorite artists when I collected comic books when I was younger. And fortunately I had a somewhat supportive mother who, she wasn't always around, but, she'd at Christmas or birthdays buy me one of those cheap art sets that was just absolute garbage, but she didn't know any better, right? I mean, she, her son was into drawing, so let's support the fact that he liked to draw. Let's, take him to the comic book store from time to time, let him buy some comics. And she struggled, and, I mean, it's something in today's world where I hear people talk about, white privilege and how the white male has had it so lucky and has been able to have more opportunities. And while maybe that in some cases is true, maybe there are more opportunities, maybe I don't get looked down upon because of my colors of my skin, or I don't get passed over for a job because of the way my eyes look. I've always had to struggle. I've never had really opportunities. I've had to work hard for everything I've ever earned in my life. And I kind of feel like where I grew up, particularly Central Valley, California, by the time I graduated high school, the white male to Hispanic ratio was diminishing. And a lot of places I went, I was looked down upon, and just for being white in certain neighborhoods and areas. I've been beat up a few times just for being in the wrong place. But that's that's there's racism on all over the place, both sides of the fence. Whether it's black and white, white, black, brown, yellow, just skin color shouldn't matter. None of it should matter. And as far as the Lives Matters movements, I hear the arguments, I see, and I understand the pain and the suffering and the hate and everything going on, and it's very confusing. It's very disturbing. It's very upsetting. Unfortunately, it's not going away, and I feel like the tensions are only getting made worse and worse. The narrative that's being portrayed by the media is only perpetuating the problems. It's not solving them. And I'm all about equality on all sides: race, gender, gender identity, sexual orientation. Everyone has a right to life. Everyone has a right to try to pursue their own happiness. But what I don't agree with is the forcing of the ideas on other people that it has to be accepted, or that it gives an excuse to commit crimes in the sake of recognition. I mean, to me that's no different than performing slaughters in the name of a deity. I don't believe in that. I don't think that's right. Especially, I don't understand how people can believe or have a belief in something that says that in order for you to be happy, you have to destroy someone else's happiness. And I don't agree with that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe because I've had this alleged white privilege my whole life. Maybe I don't see the bigger picture. But it's not for lack of trying. I believe. I believe everyone has a right to life, and everyone has a right to that happiness. And it really saddens me. It upsets me to see cops being attacked. I don't always believe that all cops are great. I've had a few run-ins with a few real asshole cops, and I'm not going to deny that. And I'm sure there are plenty of cops out there that might retrospectively look back on some of their actions and go, hey, that was kind of a dick move I made. But I think on a whole, the idea of a group of people who are meant to keep people safe, who are meant to investigate crime and do something about it to protect the people, is needed. It's necessary, and I commend the officers who are out there every day risking their lives at this point. And I've seen numerous videos. Again, the media feeding into the narrative, but I've seen what turned from a peaceful protest into a riot, where an individual was being arrested for breaking and looting, and the crowd turned on the police department, and one cop was smashed in the face with a skateboard. And that individual got away with that. I'm a firm believer that if you strike an officer, that officer then has every right to use deadly force to protect themselves and the community. I mean, if you're willing to strike an officer with a skateboard, that's assault with a deadly weapon. You could kill a person with that board if you hit them hard enough or enough times. So that particular scene, and I gotta give a shout out to those officers there in Florida in that particular situation, for being able to handle that situation and get out of it without discharging a firearm. I know I certainly wouldn't have been able to. I probably would have pulled my piece and started firing at the crowd. How do you do it? You're afraid for your life at that point. That's too much. But I guess that's the difference. They're trained to do that, and I'm not. And I personally, I don't own a firearm. Not just because I'm in Canada, because I don't particularly feel the need for one right now. And I feel like if you're living in a situation, an area where you feel like you have to own a firearm to protect yourself for that primary reason, that you should be looking into other avenues as well. I'm not saying you shouldn't own a firearm and that you can't. I fully support them. I was somebody who's got two brothers who have collected for years and have gone out to the range with and shot and had great times, just sighting in rifles or shooting at targets with a handgun. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to go out and what we call plunking. But I think the mentality of owning a firearm for home defense is what needs to change. Because people do have a right to protect themselves, but why should they have to? That's my bigger question. Like, why Why do we live in a world where the kind of evil that exists that would let somebody come and try to take what you have away from you, that you have to defend it with deadly force? That that's the basis of humanity that I feel really needs to change. Christians, Muslims, people who have a deity that they believe in, God-fearing people, as we call them, dream of a world where they don't have to have those things. And apparently that's the way the world was created. It was intended to not have those issues. But we've strayed quite a ways from that, and it'd be nice if everyone could just get along and allow everyone to be happy. But anyway, on that note, enough serious talk. I didn't actually plan to come on here and do any art directly right now. I do have other things I have to get done this morning. Dishes have piled up for basically since Hamilton on Friday. So yeah, I need to get back to that. I need to get those done. I got to finish the lawns. I do have backyards to do. I didn't do them the other day. It was getting too warm. But I want to get all that stuff done while it's still early and still cool out. And I am hoping to be back here some point in time later today to work on Bumblebee a bit, to do some touch up on the black and add some details to that stinger. But yeah, I just wanted to come on and make sure my OSB was working again, make sure my settings were all ready to go, so that when I do get on here, and I'm hoping to make this a daily routine. I'm hoping to kind of get into a routine. I get up at 5:30 or 6 in the morning, come down here, hit the weights, or hit the cardio, one of the two. I plan on alternating a bit. Hitting that for half hour to an hour in the morning, getting a bit of a workout in, grabbing a shower, job hunting from about 7 to 9-ish, which is mentally taxing to get on to the computer and change your resume for every place you apply for. And it's so different. It's just, I'm not used to doing that kind of job search. I'm from the days where you really need a resume. You showed up at wherever you thought you might want to work, or somebody told you someplace was hiring, or you knew of a place where somebody was calling in sick all the time, and you showed up on Monday morning, you shook a hand and said, "Hey, I'm so and so. I'm looking for work. I heard you guys might be hiring, or I was wondering if you had any vacancies today. I'm ready to go." That handshake and that smile and being there ready to go the moment they open, that was the way you got a job. Now it's, it changed. Somewhere over the years, you had to start carrying a resume with you and taking resumes everywhere. And so you made a general format resume that basically said what you do, where you've been, how you've managed to get on this far in life and what your skills were, and you took that with you and you shook a hand and here's my resume and I'm just looking for work. And you'd usually get a call back sometime within the week, or you wouldn't. And now everything's online. You can't sell yourself in person. You can't go out there and shake hands anymore, especially with COVID now. You submit your resume to some random human resources or admin clerk, and they score it, I guess, is the way it works now. They look over what information is contained there, and they yep, nope, and depending on how you do, they'll call you. And that's I've had to look for help on how to do that, because that's not something I'm used to. I'm not used to being so impersonable. And that is something I feel that this particular virus has taken away, is the individual personality. We all now have to stay indoors. We all now have to, be afraid and not touch each other or wear a mask. And I don't agree with it. I do my weekly grocery trip, and I have a respirator on my truck for if it ever becomes mandatory, I'll just wear my respirator in there. But because that's what's required. But I go into the grocery store, I do my grocery shop, and I don't wear a mask. I mean, I probably should. I mean, I've got the sarcoidosis, and that's a lung disease. So if I get this thing, it's probably the end of me. But yeah, I can't live in fear with that. I have a life. I gotta live it. Oh, hello. So yeah, and it looks like the family is waking up now. Good morning, Seraphim. How are you?
Good morning.
How are you doing? And the cat is now, hi cat, down here, and the dog is down here. So I guess I'm gonna probably end this video here, and we'll. Sarah, do you want to say hi to your future self? You want to say hi, Seraphim and Shady and anyone else who's watching? No, you're gonna be shy. All right, perfect. So with that, yeah, maybe I'll be on a little later today and do some work. But yeah, as part of that covenant, after I do my job search every day, I'm really planning to get down here and get off my butt and do some work, get some art done. So we'll hope to see you soon. And yeah, that's what's going on here with my half of the studio. And
I was pretty nice.
You were pretty nice. Oh, okay. And yeah, take care. We'll talk to you soon.